Hey everyone, I'm your host Neera Menon for this video event entitled Footsteps to Happiness, where I have 21 amazing experts share simple ways of how to be happy now. Well, I'm totally delighted to have with me today Mr. Glenn Harrold. I'm going to go into why you're going to love what Glenn has to say and why you're going to want to listen to him. But before I go into all of that, I'm going to share with you what this video series is all about. You may be wondering, why am I doing this summit? Well, I used to feel constantly anxious, worried, and I can't say I ever felt heartfelt happiness. So, in pursuit of happiness, I've read every self-help book going, attended seminars, even bought the t-shirt with the inspirational quote, and I'm still wearing it. And quite frankly, having spent all of that time and money, I still couldn't find that heartfelt happiness that I've been looking for. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who's going down this road. Well, exhausted from all this endeavour, I began to focus on the idea that there must be one simple way to get happy now. Well, I was inspired to just dance to a few happy songs every day. And the instant I did that, I got happy straight away. And guess what? The happier I've got, the more magic seems to be happening in my life. So I got to thinking, there must be a whole host of simple to understand and easy to follow steps to happiness out there for everyone. Part of this summit is about me learning and studying with some of the best experts on the planet right now on the subject of happiness. The other reason for the summit is if you believe that we only have one life, then surely we owe it to ourselves to live in a state of happiness, which, according to some, is our natural state of being. In other words, actually, we were already born happy. This is what this seminar is all about, that there are easy ways we can learn to be happy now. It's a personal journey, and I hope that it will also inspire you to get happy and stay happy. I highly suggest you watch the video of the day on the email that we send you every day for the next 21 days. So make sure you make listening to these interviews the top priority in your life. Well, at least for the next 21 days. As you know, I have selected 21 of the best experts on the planet and put them under the spotlight to answer this question. What is your one simple to understand and easy to do, guaranteed to get results, favourite way to get happy now? Well, I could not be more thrilled at the people who have graciously consented to spend their valuable time with us. And also, they've been very generous with contributing some fabulous bonuses that each one will tell you about. I am very honoured by their presence, and you should be too. Today, I am really honoured to have Glenn Harrold with us. Well, Glenn's start in life was colourful to say the least. From the age of 12, he often slept rough on the streets as a result of a dysfunctional family home. At 15, he was expelled from school. He then fell in with the wrong crowd and experimented with drugs and alcohol, and was on first name terms with a local magistrate. Well, after a major health scare at 17 caused by excessive alcohol abuse and a warning from the doctor, he took the necessary measures to free himself from his old destructive ways. He totally turned his life around and is now an author, musician, and experienced clinical hypnotherapist who has helped thousands of clients over a wide range of stress-related problems. He's combined his hypnotherapy skills with an extensive recording knowledge to produce a uniquely effective series of high-quality hypnosis recordings. So, let's now join Glenn to find out what his view is on the subject of happiness. And the reason you need to listen to Glenn is that he really knows at first hand how to really get happier. So welcome, Glenn.
Hello, Neera.
Hi, thank you for agreeing to the interview. Glenn, I'm really curious, actually. What attracted you to become a hypnotherapist in the first place?
What drew me into this strange and wonderful profession?
Yeah.
Well, for a long, long time, I was a musician. And when I was younger, I played in bands, initially it was a punk band. And that kind of took me away from sort of hanging around with the kids on the street and got me into something more creative. And I played in a band for a number of years, and then we morphed into another band called the Sugar Ray Five, and we won a pop competition in the early '80s. And it's kind of I've documented that a few times.
Yes.
And so we had a bit of success, but then that didn't work out, and it didn't last for long. It kind of came and went because we were young and a bit inexperienced. But after that, I kind of got into playing in bars and pubs and restaurants, doing covers. So we were doing Beatles songs and all these popular songs in quite nice venues. We did pubs and
Yeah.
working men's clubs. We did that, but it was when one night we shared the bill with a stage hypnotist, and it was on
Ah,
seeing this gentleman working. He was actually making people do outrageous things, but he was using hypnosis to create this stage show, and it kind of fascinated me watching it backstage. And I had a bit of an epiphany that night because I didn't want to do it for the entertainment side of things. I was really drawn to it for the potential to change patterns of behavior.
yes.
And so from there, I studied with the British School of Clinical Hypnosis in London. I did a 2-year diploma with them.
Right.
And I really learned the art of hypnotherapy and using it to help people overcome problems. And there's a big distinction to be made there, because the stage hypnosis thing is purely entertainment, and it
Yes.
uses a
Yes.
different kind of hypnosis
Ah, okay.
to put people into a trance state. The kind of hypnosis that I do is very much in a therapeutic setting, and the aim is to help people get over problems, to overcome addictions, anxiety issues, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So those two things are both using hypnosis, but in entirely different ways. So I always make that clear distinction, because most people's exposure to hypnosis is through the stage shows or
Yeah.
through media portrayals, that kind
Okay.
of thing.
Yeah. So how does it actually work then? I mean, in terms of can it really help everyone?
It can help anyone, really, and the only people that can't be helped are people who are resistant to it, who don't really want to overcome their problem, or for whatever reason they may have a secondary gain going on or something that's stopping them from getting over it. And
Right.
sometimes you do get those cases where people are resistant to it.
Yes.
But if you've got a willingness and an openness to overcome the problem, to sleep better, to lose weight, to overcome anxiety issues, if you really want to do that,
Yes.
hypnosis and hypnotherapy are great tools for helping you to do that, because they're using your own natural resources to help you overcome these issues and change patterns of behavior.
Right. So what you're actually saying is you can't be unwillingly hypnotized unless you really want to change.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's kind of always a little bit of debate on that.
Yeah.
Some hypnotists will say you can hypnotize anyone, and sometimes, but really, especially in a therapeutic setting, you can't get anyone to do anything they don't want to do. If
Right.
they don't, if they're sitting there telling you they want to stop smoking, but deep down they don't,
Right.
they might be there because their wife has coaxed them into going,
R-
and their motivation's not strong enough,
Okay.
then you're not going to change that pattern of behavior. So it really does, you do need to be on, have the willingness and desire to change.
Right. Okay, I get it. I get it. And so I guess the first person you must have experimented on was yourself. So how has self-hypnosis helped you? Yeah.
Well, self-hypnosis is a fantastic tool for, overcoming any pressure situation, or so I should say, being in the right mental state in a pressure situation.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I just went to Wimbledon yesterday to the
Oh, did you?
tennis,
Lucky
and
you.
yeah, that was wonderful. And that's a classic example of, those men and women, when they're playing tennis at that very, very high level, being so mentally focused that they're blocking out all the distractions of the crowd, the TV cameras, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they are so focused on the very next point, and they kind of train their minds to work in that way, so that when they're about to serve or they're about to, receive a ball, there's nothing else in their focus other than what they're going to do next with the tennis ball.
Yes.
And that's a hypnotic trance state. It's a naturally occurring hypnotic trance state that they've, kind of through their training, they've enabled themselves to create when they're at those pressure points. And you really do see those guys absolutely zone out of everything and just focus on that very next point.
Yeah.
And, that's a case of self-hypnosis. It's where you're, because hypnosis really is a focused state of intention. So when you're absolutely focused on something, a specific goal, you're in an altered state of consciousness at that time, and everything else is blocked out and you're just in that zone. And I've got a guide to self-hypnosis, which I'll give your viewers and listeners away. I'll give that as a gift later on, so they can download that and they can learn the steps to teach themselves to use self-hypnosis to apply to many different things in their life, because you can apply it for sleep, you can apply it for relaxation, anxiety issues, for being in the right state when you need to be, when you really need to be at your very best. If you use self-hypnosis beforehand, you're programming your mind to be in a peak performance state when you really need it. And because the mind doesn't distinguish between what's imagined and what's real,
right.
If you use self-hypnosis enough and you're visualizing a specific goal, when you come to actually do it, you'll believe that you've done it a number of times, and you'll be able to, so you're kind of almost tricking your mind into being in that state before you actually get there.
Right.
And it's very powerful.
Okay, so because your mind doesn't know the difference is the reason why it works. Okay,
yeah, it's one of the key factors. So it's a case of programming. Think of your mind as like a computer, and what you're putting into it is what will come back out of it.
Sure.
So if you're working on a specific goal, whether it's to, do a public speech, or, to be in a examination room where you've got to be at your best, or to be at Wimbledon playing tennis, whatever it is, if you use the self-hypnosis, when you get to that event, you'll be at the very best you can be.
Right, I get it. Okay, so let's put that into practice. So Glenn, my challenge to you is, as with every expert I'm interviewing, say I'm sitting before you, right, as a person that's constantly anxious, worried, and has probably never really felt, if you like, heartfelt happiness. You think things like, having a lot of money will make you happy. Of course it's going to make you happy, but there is that difference. You get that money, you get there, and you think, now what next? That really heartfelt happiness is what I'm talking about. So I mean, what would be your simple to understand and easy steps to actual creating that happiness for yourself, just for no reason whatsoever?
I think the way to achieve that kind of happiness, to overcome anxiety, because in this day and age that we have a lot of pressure on us, and it's said that we make more decisions in a week than our grandparents made in a year. And we are bombarded with information at all angles, things coming through our door, things on the radio, through the media, newspapers, the internet. We're constantly bombarded. And the real key to finding peace, happiness, to be able to de-stress, is through quietening your left brain, quietening your mind down, and going into that centered space, and doing that on a fairly regular basis. So if you can't do it every day, 3 or 4 times a week. And think of it like if you wanted to create a really fantastic body, physique, you'd work out at the gym 3 or 4 times a day, and you'd exercise.
Right. It's
the same principle. If you want to create that happiness and that inner peace, it really is through meditating and using self-hypnosis to go into your inner self and connect with a sense of peace from that perspective.
Okay, so how would I do that?
Well, the self-hypnosis guide that I'm giving away as a download,
Yes.
if you use that, follow the techniques in that,
Right.
and then I would say every day get in the habit of using that, even if it's for 10 minutes. Just close your eyes and go through the procedure, into the breathing technique where you
Right.
start to unwind and then clear away any unwanted thoughts. And you'll still get the odd thought coming into your mind because you'll think about shopping later on or
Yeah.
whatever. But don't let that dictate. Just breathe it away and just concentrate yourself on actually thinking of nothing. So allowing your mind to not, because we all have the monkey mind where, you're constantly getting the chatter going on. Just allow your mind to completely go still and quiet. And, with more practice, you get better at that,
Mm-hmm.
so that you really get into a still and centered space. And then, for happiness, for the issue of happiness, a really good technique from that point of view is to imagine, your heart chakra. So
Right.
that's the point in the middle of your chest.
Okay.
So imagine that area opening up and expanding. So it's like your heart energy is starting to expand out. So you imagine you're projecting this energy out and away from you, and you can think of people that you love and you care about, and imagine a connection, a feeling of love, because that's the most powerful force in the universe. And more and more I use that kind of technique.
Right.
So imagine expanding your heart out, and this beautiful energy of love coming out from your heart and projecting it out to people you care about, friends, family. And you can even do it to acquaintances and work colleagues, because it would change the dynamic between you. Even if you don't particularly get on with someone, try it. Try this technique. It's
Right.
very, very, very powerful. And if you just do that for 10 minutes every day, that's stilling yourself and projecting out this feeling of love from your heart
Mm.
chakra, you'll start to feel very, very different after a few days. You really will.
Wow. Okay.
And that's a really nice one. If you wanted to focus on something specific, if you've got an anxiety issue, or say it was something more specific like a sleep problem,
Yes.
then you could still use the same technique, but focus on winding down when you get sort of 10 o'clock or whatever, have a chamomile tea before, and then focus on this projection, this technique. But you could throw in affirmations where you say, I sleep well throughout the whole night. Keep it very
Okay.
simple. So again, you're getting into this lovely, really deep state using your heart energy, but you can use affirmations as well in the present tense, in the here and now, always in the I. So you're saying, I sleep well at night,
Okay.
and if you do that, you repeat that over and over again, you're programming your computer to change your patterns of behavior and get into a new pattern of behavior in a very powerful and effective way.
So in the way that I'm sleeping well, it sounds like you could probably apply it to anything, like, because you say I'm happier, I'm thinner, I'm fitter.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would, rather than saying something I'm thinner, I would say something I love to eat healthily and I love to
Gotcha.
exercise. So you're more focusing on the things that you need to do to create that fit, healthy body.
Right.
And also when you do that, if you want to work on becoming fit and healthy, there's two things you need to do. You need to eat healthily and you need to exercise.
Sure, sure.
It's not rocket science, but there are a number of reasons why people, get stuck in other patterns. So if you just focus on those two issues, eating healthily
Yes.
and exercising, and you're constantly saying, I love to eat healthily, I love to exercise
Right.
regularly. And really, when you're doing that, visualize yourself doing that. Visualize yourself working out or playing tennis, or
Sure.
and you create a love for it. You start to want to do it. And I mean, I was out of bed at 7 o'clock and on the tennis court at 8 o'clock this morning, and I played for 2 hours.
Wow.
And I love it. I absolutely
Awesome.
love doing that.
Yes.
It's not hard work. It's something that I enjoy, because when you enjoy something,
Yeah.
it's not a struggle. It's
So,
easy.
so did you have to um, do some self-hypnosis to have that healthier lifestyle, or so did you apply that to yourself in that
Yeah,
area
I
as
have done
well?
over the years,
Yeah.
because you know, as you mentioned earlier, I had quite a dysfunctional upbringing where
Yeah.
I was a bit of a wayward kid. You know, I was expelled from school when I was 15. I was smoking cigarettes when I was 11,
Oh
and
my God.
yeah, I was drinking heavily at 13, and you know, I was really off the rails, and I used to take drugs as well when I was young. And, you know, so I was very, very messed up in a lot of ways. I had a lot of addictions and, you know, a lot of problems. And, you know, everything, when I went out into the adult world, everything I touched turned to stone. You know, I couldn't get a proper career. My relationships were short and brief. And, you know, so I really struggled. But when I found like self-hypnosis and the law of attraction, and
Oh,
I realized that I could change all that dysfunctional programming from within.
fantastic.
That took me off in a completely different direction. And I used it religiously back in those days, because it, for me, suddenly it was the way out of all this
Yes.
craziness that had gone before. And little by little, it took me a while. You know, I didn't change my life overnight. It took me a number of years to pull myself out of that hole and that's dysfunction. And I had a lot of things to overcome. And
Right.
I still, and it's an ongoing thing. I look at it now. I'm still working on things that I want to improve, you know, every day.
But yeah, but the key thing is you absolutely have found a mechanism that absolutely works not only for yourself but everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really can. Whatever situation you're in, however stuck you feel,
Mm.
however broke you feel, however, you know, unhealthy you feel,
Yeah,
you can change that. You really can. You know, from the inside out, you
sure.
can change your life. And, you know,
Oh,
I'm testament. I was kicked out of school. The headmaster actually said to me I was the worst kid he'd had in the school when I was 15, and I was out the door. And, you know, I've written 7 books,
uh,
you know, so I sometimes don't know how
oh, that
gone that route, but
that
it's through the inner programming
yeah.
without a doubt.
That's awesome. That is, oh, that's just so fantastic. Hey, listen, I'm really sorry to interrupt you. I absolutely love what you're saying. But here's the challenge. We've only got 10 minutes left with our interview. So here's the deal. I know you've got something really special you want to share with us. I think you've already alluded to that anyway with the guide to self-hypnosis. But please tell us, where can people actually find you on Twitter, Facebook, your website? Where can they find you online?
Yeah, I've got a Twitter account. I've got a Facebook fan page. So if they go onto Facebook,
Yep.
type in my name, Glenn Harrold. If they type in fan page, I think they'll go straight to it.
Oh, okay.
And they can join me there, because I do post a lot of updates there on new
Yes.
titles and
Yeah.
things that are coming out. Yeah, and Twitter's another good one, just through a search on my name. I've got a website where I sell all my products, and
Yeah.
that's called hypnosisaudio.com.
Yeah.
And so people can go there and buy the stuff. But it's also on iTunes, on the App Store.
Yes.
And what I've done in the last year or so, I've put out a number of free apps, so people can try out the apps. And they're sort of 25-minute self-hypnosis
Yeah.
apps that they can listen to. And and the way to do it is to lay down, headphones on, and just allow that 25 minutes as your time to switch off and to kind of recharge and empower yourself.
Mm.
So people can try those out for free.
Okay, oh, that's excellent. And of course, they can also download your free ebook on hypnosis as well, the steps to hypnosis that you were talking about.
The free guide to
Yeah,
self-hypnosis, yeah.
yeah,
And that's a step-by-step guide that will, teach you how to go into that deeply relaxed state and,
perfect.
to switch the mind off, and, then you can really start to empower yourself.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Hey, listen, I want to say thank you so much, so much. And you've definitely given us much, much more than I asked for. And, it sounds like not only can anyone effectively through self-hypnosis get themselves
Mm.
happier, you can actually, by the sounds of it, from what you said, apply that to a whole host of other issues that you may want to tackle. So thank you very, very much for that. I really appreciate that. So there you go, guys. You not only have the recipe to happiness, but you've got far, far more than that you can tackle. This is Neera Menon of Only Happiness Counts. Look out for our next interview tomorrow, and make this an absolute top priority to listen to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Neera.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye.